AMC with a very impressive catch at support. Oh my goodness. Let's go ahead and validate what could be happening for the following sessions for AMC stock. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with an AMC technicals and raw price action thread of analysis on this Hump Day Wednesday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community and Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so yes, we are looking at AMC on the daily here, and please go ahead and notice that this is the broadening descending wedge in a smaller term time frame in comparison to the very larger macro scale broadening descending wedge that we are riding. Okay, the importance of what we're looking at here is because this is essentially a buy formation breakout setup. Okay, so this is a very complex breakout. We need to fulfill a few tests of the resistance of both formations in order for us to validate and confirm a true breakout out of them. Okay, so let's go ahead and now just look at the details of the smaller term time frame. Okay, because yesterday we were talking about the potentials of about a $5.69 drop, of which we did get today, and we literally came right back down to test our support line, of which we've been talking about for some days. Lots of people don't believe me, and lots of people don't really understand how the playbook works within these situations, right? But just remember, guys, we talked about the potential supports that we had right up here, but we also had the lower supports down here as well, and it's in respects to this broadening descending wedge. We have test number 1 of the resistance, test number 2 of the resistance, 3, and the true breakout number 4, right? So upon that 4th breakout, we did come back to test it one time, but oftentimes we come back to test that resistance several times. Okay, so in this case, we came right at it. We bounced right off of that resistance. I'm sorry, off of that support, or it was actually a newly converted resistance. What was a resistance, right? Into now a newly converted support. And it looks like we are validating it in this process. Post price action right now, or post market hours, we're sitting at about $5.85. And it is about 2:27 p.m. Pacific right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and just move on to the next chart, because this is looking pretty good still. Another thing to notice real fast, okay, that yesterday I did mention that if the broader markets do not recover, then AMC would essentially run on a sympathy path to the downside. Okay, so now if I just pull this up here, go ahead and notice that today's price action on the NDX, okay, this is the NASDAQ 100 index. Please notice that the price action did get a little bit of capitulation to the downside, but we did recover, creating a very nice hammer candle at the bottom of downtrend. Very silly little formation right here, but it looks like we are in the process of forming, a bull flag of sorts, right? So don't really trade bull flags. Bull flags are, in all essence, they have a very low strike rate. They're not a credible formation. We just have to trade it based on how many people believe in it. Okay, it only has a psychological component applied to it. It doesn't have mathematical properties or anything. Okay, so very, very much be careful trading that pattern. Okay. If you are a pattern seeker or watcher. All right, so let's go ahead and now move on to the next chart and see what we got. Okay, so the resistance that we're finding at the current moment right now is in fact right at the VWAP. Okay, we've been watching this because it is critically important for us to notice what the volume weighted average price moving average is doing for us. Please notice we have three iterations of resistance touches right now. We're knocking at the door of this thing right now. Okay, so there is a possibility where we can succeed the outside of the VWAP. Okay, so as soon as we do break upside of the VWAP and close a candle upside of it, okay, I'm not talking about a candle that has a wick going down below the VWAP. We need to close a candle above it. Okay, just like this. You see, we're touching it, we're trying to make sure that it is a valid area of support. We get the first hourly candle closure above the VWAP line, and then we make that move to the upside. Okay, so we are looking for validation by a minimum 1 hour closure candle above the VWAP. Okay, volume weighted average price. Let's move on to the next chart and see what we got. Okay, so actually we're going to reference this chart because this is the one where we essentially saw what the downside could be looking. Very interesting that our LARP lines over here are actually following the price action just like we talked about, right? So very, very nice. Very, very good. Okay, so here is the 569 support line that we were talking about. Of course, we actually just dipped down just a little bit lower on the TradingView algorithm, reached $5.67 and actually got that bounce, right? So right now, this is the candle that we're sitting on. We can now get rid of this ridiculous line over here because I didn't expect it for it to, kind of follow that exact price action. But we have to talk about a couple things here, okay? So there is the potential to where this could be, it could be the final end of it. But remember that I always talk about the potential of a fourth iteration of this, okay? So it doesn't always have to happen, and in fact, a lot of people may actually see this as already the fourth. And why am I saying that? Is because the price action after it went up to that top side of about right over here, $8.53 right here, we capitulated, right? And then we created the first bear flag. Then we came back down, created the second bear flag, third and fourth. Okay, so there is that possibility as well. The reason I was counting yesterday 3 and then a potential 4 all the way down to this level about 536 is because these little things are essentially fractals, okay? So they're repetitions of price action over time, and it's valid, it's valid. But there are other people who are trading it in different ways as well, okay? Because please notice right here that we have the first spinning top doji candle, 12-hour read, the second spinning top doji, third spinning top, and the fourth spinning top right now being built as we speak. Okay, so there is that potential to where we may have found a floor, but we have to validate this and we have to be very careful because upon this massive downside, all kinds of momentum is flashed to the downside, or there is a lot of bear pressure on it, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to the next chart and see what we have, okay? Let's move on to the RSI and refer to our 30-minute immediate short-term time frame, suggesting RSI signal, purple line, remember, and your pink line is the 14-day simple moving average. Please notice here that we are still with an upside pivot, and the good thing is here is that we're getting very, very close to that gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile, okay? As soon as we do reach that zone, which could be just 2% under that border, we can then start seeing the possibilities of getting pulled to the upside. Very good stuff. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the 4-hour chart and notice here that we are still getting a little bit of consolidation here as long as we are within the gravitational zones of either the percentiles. I'm talking about the bear weakness percentile and the bear strength percentile, meaning within this area here, just so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so I'm just going to draw it as close as I could. So, maybe something, hold on just a sec. There we go. I'll just give you an idea as to what I'm looking at when I say the gravitational zone, right? So let me just do it like this is about as close as it's going to get. Okay, so now these two lines, right, you can actually apply to really anywhere in the chart, right? So I'm just giving you a little trade secret right here so that you can understand what I'm looking at, okay? This is definitely something that you're going to be learning in the ARC Masters trading course, okay? So all of these zones here, they're the gravitational zones of every percentile. Of course, there's still another one right over here and another one right over here for the oversold and overbought percentile up here. Okay, so please notice that the price action is in fact within that gravitational zone. So we would definitely get pulled in and out and in and out as long as we do maintain ourselves within here. Okay, so if that's the case, then so be it. That's what sentiment is feeling, okay? But let's go ahead and now move on and see what we have. Okay, so very, very interesting thing here on the 8-hour, okay? Yes, it is a little bit bearish, and we do have that 14-day simple, but I want you to notice the pivot here, okay? Because the curvature here on the RSI signal seems to be losing that bear pressure, because we don't have such a convincing downside pivot like it is here. The degree down here is a lot it's a lot more substantial than it is in this area here. Okay, so that is already indicative of a potential bottom or floor being found. Okay, just know that it's only indicative of it and it's a potential floor. Okay, it's not saying that it is. All right, so let's go ahead and now move on to the 12-hour chart and see what the RSI is doing. Okay, so very similar situation here as the 4-hour situation. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we have pretty much consolidation on the RSI signal, slightly bearish on the 14-day. simple moving average, and yet again the curvature here happening. It's losing that bear strength, not nearly as convincing as this pivot here. Okay, so the bi-daily RSI is suggesting a similar thing here too. We're diving now into the bear weakness percentile, but again, that curvature. It looks like we may be losing that bear pressure, right? So, and now as we dive into the 3-day, the 3-day is very much in. Actually, let me take a look at it. Let me take a look at something here. I want to make sure that we can see when the 3-day candle can close, and that, of course, it's not telling us yet. It is possible that the 3-day candle iteration may be closed tomorrow, though. And the reason why I'm saying this is because upon the bounce that we found today, this could very well have flashed the 3-day the 3-day RSI signal from this 14-day simple moving average. This is essentially what I'm looking for. I'm just going to go ahead and draw a little bit of a line yet again. I am looking for something like this. Okay, hold on. We're going to try to do this as best as we could so that we can be, so, I don't want to express any type of lie here or anything. Okay, that we're essentially looking for this type of movement. Okay, like this. Okay, upon the closure of it, we're either going to see ourselves right down here, or we're going to see ourselves losing a little bit of strength. Okay, but what we want, okay, this is not what we're going to see. It's just what we want is the potential of finding this 14-day simple moving average as that saving grace or that support line before a continuation onto the upside, just like it did here. Okay, so that also means that we can actually just bring this up like that. There is that possibility as well. So we can, more than likely, upon the closure of the 3-day candle, we're going to see it up to this point only. Okay, so we'll go ahead and touch bases on this. We'll just leave the drawings in there and see what happens tomorrow. Okay, so please remember, guys, I want to touch on a couple targets here, but please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy or sell any assets whatsoever, okay? I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be just fine. All right, so let's go ahead and touch on the last part of this analysis here, and that could be a target. And let's take a fib from the current day's swing high to swing low and see what we have, okay? So if we were to continue on to the upside from this point, okay, but the 3-day time frame is still indicative of a downside, okay, so which means that we can still come back down to around that area of about 580. Even if we did come back to near that 569 again, that's still fine, okay, but it's just needing to find that support. We're talking about that support right here on the 3-day, okay? So very, very close to that. We're still in a precarious situation, just like I mentioned before, okay? So yes, we can still face that 590 or 560, 569. The other area would be around 580, around 580, 578 at the 4-spot 236 before a continuation on, okay? So it's still looking like that possibility is in line, okay? So if that were the case, then we could potentially land in 2 areas, okay? So the first resistance touch that I am looking at here from my perspective is actually going to be in respects to the 0.618 Fibonacci ratio at about $5.96, and we can just leave that right in there for future reference. And the second area of resistance is in respects to the opening of this candle here, the closing of this candle here, very close to this candle here, the opening of this, the closing of this candle here, lots of relevance. The wick high of this candle, it would be all in respects to the 1.272 at about $6.25. So let's just go ahead and draw a little bit of a box for resistance, right? So it would be something like this, okay? Right at about 619 to 625 is the second area of resistance that we could potentially be facing, okay? So just know that we are still under broader market pressures, okay? So whatever happened today in the Fed meeting for Jerome Powell's semi-annual monetary policy report, whatever that was, whatever he said today must have been bullish enough to make the markets recover. Okay, so very good, very good. So now those are the targets you're looking for. Those are the downsides and upside targets you're looking for. That is, please refer to the links in the description below if you are so interested in visiting me in Twitter or Discord. Okay, you guys. But with that said, I wish you well, a very, very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.